In the old calendar, Christmas was not a morning, it was a season, a tide, slow, intentional, meant to be entered gently. This is the first day of Christmastide, and tonight you are welcome at the common table, not as guest, not as stranger, but as one who has found their way here by listening. This table was never meant for ceremony. It bears no banners. It requires no titles. Here, bread is passed by hand. Cups are filled without counting. Silence is honored. And when it breaks, it does so kindly. All who sit here are equal in warmth, and no one leaves unchanged. This is where stories begin when the world grows quiet. Long before clocks ruled the night, Christmastide stretched from the birth of the light until the turning of the year, 12 days, not to rush through but to remain within, to eat slowly, to rest without apology, to remember what endures when winter presses close. In this season, we do not hurry joy. We let it arrive on its own.
And this is why I love Christmastide, because it doesn't demand perfection. It invites your presence. You don't need to decorate every corner of your life. You don't need to explain your tiredness. You're allowed to sit, to breathe, to be exactly where you are. That's what this table means to me. A place where no one is performing, where the fire does most of the talking.
Then sit with us. Whether you are alone tonight or surrounded by noise, let this moment be quieter than the rest. Let the season unfold without force.
You don't have to do all 12 days perfectly. You just have to be willing to begin. And beginnings are something we're very good at here.
May your nights be warmed by small lights. May your thoughts slow enough to hear themselves. And may this Christmastide give you back something you didn't realize you'd been missing.
And from our table to wherever you are, Merry Christmastide.
Christmas was never meant to be a single morning. It was a season, one that asked us to remain. Here, at the common table of Vale Keep, we remember what gathering once meant. Not spectacle, not excess, but presence.
This table was never reserved for rank or title. It exists so that all might sit, warm their hands, and share what they had. A meal, a story, a silence. In Christmastide, no one is rushed away. There's time to linger, time to listen, time to simply be among others without expectation.
The fire burns not to impress, but to hold the room together. Candles are lit not for decoration, but so that faces may be seen. What is shared here is not abundance, but steadiness.
Wherever you are listening from, you are welcome at this table. You need bring nothing with you. Your presence is enough. Remain a while. Warm yourself. Christmastide is not in a hurry.
Merry Christmastide.
Merry Christmastide.
There are rooms meant for gathering, and there are rooms meant for listening. This is the latter. By the third day of Christmastide, the noise of the outer world begins to loosen its grip. The feast has passed, the voices have quieted, and what remains is thought. In Vale Keep, this hour belongs to the reading room, not for display, not for ceremony, but for rest. Here, one does not read to master a text, one reads to be kept company by it.
This is the room I choose when the night is long and the world feels far away. A chair by the fire, a book left open, even when I'm not reading, a silence that feels kind. There is no expectation here, only permission.
Christmastide was never meant to be hurried. It is a season that unfolds slowly, like a page turned with care. On this day, we do not mark time by bells or candles. We mark it by the weight of a book in the hand and the warmth of the fire at our back.
This is where reflection settles in, where memories wander in without being summoned, where the heart has room to speak quietly. If you've come here tonight, you are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be.
Christmastide was never meant to be hurried. It is a season that unfolds slowly, like a page turned with care. On this day, we do not mark time by bells or candles. We mark it by the weight of a book in the hand and the warmth of the fire at our back.
From the reading room of Vale Keep, on the third day of Christmastide, may you find rest and stillness and comfort in quiet company. Merry Christmastide.
Stay if you wish. Read or do not read. Listen or simply be. The fire will keep its vigil. The room will remember you. Merry Christmastide from Vale Keep to you. This is the hour when the house stirs, not with voices, but with direction. Here at the heart of Vale Keep, paths open quietly. No bell is rung, no command is given. One may ascend toward rest, reflection, and private hours, or pass onward into warmth, conversation, or the long glow of the fire. The house does not hurry you. It has learned patience far longer than we have. Stone remembers every footstep. It knows when one lingers and when one is ready to move on. This is not a place of endings. It is a place of choosing.
Christmastide was never meant to be rushed. It was a season. It is a season. A widening of time. If tonight you feel drawn upward, you are welcome to go. If you feel called to remain, there is still light below. Here no path is judged. No door is closed. Only this is asked of you. Listen to what the quiet is saying.
The house stands ready. Whichever way you walk, you are not walking alone. Merry Christmastide.
The house does stand ready. So whichever way you walk, you're not walking alone. Merry Christmastide. This is one of my favorite rooms in Vale Keep, the hearth room. If you were to ask me where the heart of this place truly lives, I would bring you here. Not to the Great Hall, not to the library, and certainly not to the catacombs, but here. This is where warmth gathers. This is where hands rest. This is where voices lower. And this is where celebrations happen. Across the centuries and cultures, every home, no matter the language spoken, has always had a place like this. A room where people come not to impress, but to be fed. Food is not simply sustenance here. It is an act of care, a quiet devotion. You don't rush in this room. You don't argue in this room. You don't scheme or posture or plan conquest in this room. You sit, you warm your hands, and you eat what is given. And somehow, in that simple act, people remember who they are.
This room was never meant for ceremony. The heart room exists for one reason only: to sustain those who must continue. Here at Vale Keep we eat to live. We do not live to eat. The fire is kept low but constant. The kettles are never empty. The table is never set for display, only for use. Those who enter this room are not guests. They are present. Long before I was born, this room fed many. Stewards, travelers, soldiers returning from long roads. There were nights when the heart burned until morning, because someone needed to sit longer. No questions were asked here. No titles mattered, only whether you had eaten.
This is what I cherish about this room. It doesn't demand explanation and it doesn't require permission. It simply says, sit. This is the language that survives wars, the language that survives grief, and the language that outlasts kingdoms. Bread passed quietly, a cup refilled without comment, a hand resting near the fire. You don't need to speak the same words to understand this language.
There are things spoken elsewhere in Vale Keep that are never spoken here. The heart does not judge. It does not question allegiance or intent. This room remembers hunger, and because of that, it remembers mercy.
There's something grounding about knowing that even in a place filled with stone, history, and shadows, the most powerful force is still something simple: warmth, food, and presence. This room has held laughter, it has held silence, it has held people who have nowhere else to go, and now it never asks them to explain themselves.
The heart room is not guarded. It does not need to be. Those who mean harm rarely linger where care is freely given.
When I think about Christmastide, not as a day, but as a season, this room is what comes to mind. Not gifts, not spectacle, but gathering, where stories soften, where plans wait, where people remember that being together is enough.
Christmastide was never meant to be loud. It was meant to endure.
So tonight, if you find yourself needing warmth, not just of the body, but of the spirit, imagine this room, a steady fire, a simple table, time slowing just enough. You are welcome here. Merry Christmastide. Today I want to bring you into a room that doesn't often get spoken about, but has always existed in every keep, every hall, every stronghold. This is a room where men gather after a meal has ended. The fire is still burning. Cups sit where they were set down. Tea, ale, sometimes just warm water. The maps remain open on the table. Boots are loosened. Cloaks are set aside. This is not a place of ceremony. It is a place of consideration. In rooms like this, swords are not drawn, voices are not raised, and no one needs to prove anything. This is where men speak of roads ahead, of weather, of supply, of distance, of decisions that will affect more than themselves. This is Christmastide.
This room exists for one reason. So that what must be carried is not carried alone. Plans are spoken here, doubts are allowed here, and silence is respected. This is not where heroes are made loud. This is where they are made steady. The world often imagines men are strongest when they are fighting. But strength has always lived in restraint, in foresight, in choosing the right moment instead of the loud one. Every man who has ever walked these halls has passed through this room, before journeys, before wars, before turning back, and some conversations that begin here are never finished in daylight. Tonight the fire burns low, the cups will cool, and when the room empties, the plans made here will remain. This is Christmastide, and this is one of its quieter truths.
Tonight is the 7th day of Christmastide, and as the men gather elsewhere to talk, to argue, to remember victories and old stories, we do something quieter. We retire, not in secrecy and not in defiance, but for intention. This chamber has always been a place of pause, a place where women could remove the armor that they were never meant to wear. Here we speak differently, we listen differently, and we remember things the world forgets. And this quiet little watcher is Faramir. He has kept the rooms of Vale Keep longer than most, and is attracted to this particular room. Gee, I wonder why.
In my time, this evening was understood. The seventh day marked a turning, not outward but inward. The household divided not by power but by purpose. The men gathered to recount what had been done. The women gathered to consider what must still be held. Neither was lesser, but they were never the same.
This room was never meant for noise. It was meant for breath. Candles burned lower here, voices softened, hands rested. This is where women spoke of things that did not belong to the table below. Grief that had no audience, hopes not yet safe to share, weariness disguised all year as strength. If you are listening tonight, you are welcome here. You do not have to be impressive. You do not have to be certain. And you do not have to explain yourself.
It was said, quietly, that the household endured not because of what was decided in the hall, but because of what was understood in chambers like this one. Here, counsel was not given loudly. It was absorbed. A woman who left this room returned steadier, clearer, and often more dangerous, in the best sense of the word.
Tonight is not about advice. It is about permission. Permission to rest your face, to unclench your jaw, to admit that carrying everything alone has cost you something. This is the night we stop pretending we are endlessly resilient. Resilience is learned, endurance is earned, but rest is chosen.
In the old households, this night was called the keeping night. Not because anything was hidden, but because certain truths were kept safe until morning. A woman did not owe the world her unraveling. She owed herself gentleness.
So if your year has been heavy, if you've been strong for everyone else, if you've swallowed words that deserved air, let this be the place you set them down. You don't have to solve them tonight. You don't even have to name them. Just let them be acknowledged.
There is power in a woman who knows when to withdraw. Not retreat, withdraw. Like the tide. Like breath drawn in before speech. Those who understand this rhythm endure longer than those who never pause.
Day 7 is not loud. It does not announce itself, but it changes what comes next. Tomorrow we step forward again, wiser, calmer, and less willing to carry what no longer belongs to us. For tonight, stay here, breathe, and remember, you are not behind. You are not late. You are not failing. You are keeping.
May this chamber hold you well, and may what is spoken here, even silently, strengthen what you carry into the days ahead.
This room has been gifted to me for my own particular use. Thank you, Your Grace, and Merry Christmastide.
You are welcome, Valiana. You are my heart. You warm my heart. And this room is to warm yours. Merry Christmastide.
We've come upstairs now, not all the way into the grand halls, not back into the noise of the world, but into the solar room, the place where light returns slowly and warmth is allowed to linger.
This room was never meant for crowds. It was meant for winter mornings, for tea held between both hands, for watching the snow fall without needing to go out into it.
Today we rise just enough to feel the light again. Christmastide does that. It does not rush us back into celebration. It teaches us how to return gently.
In old houses such as this, the solar room was a promise, a reminder that even in the deepest winter, the sun had not forgotten us. It would come through the glass, pale, quiet, faithful.
This is a room for conversation that doesn't need answers, for the kind of silence that feels like a companion, for saying we are still here without saying anything at all.
And it is where one learns something important. Not all warmth is loud. Not all light demands attention. Some of it simply waits.
Christmastide Day 8 reminds us of that. The world pushes us to rush, to decide, to plan, and to resolve. But this season says, sit first, warm yourself, let the day arrive on its own.
When snow falls like this, the world seems to forgive itself. Sharp edges soften, sounds fade. Even old worries feel quieter by the fire.
If you're listening tonight and feeling tired, not just in body, but in spirit, this room is for you. You don't need to explain anything here. You don't need to be productive. And you only need to stay warm.
Tomorrow, the halls will matter again. The world will knock. The year will ask questions. But tonight, we allow the light to return on its own terms.
So for Christmastide Day 8, we remain in the solar room with fire, with tea, with falling snow beyond the glass. Rest here as long as you need. Vale Keep will still be standing when you rise. Merry Christmastide. On the 9th day of Christmastide, we come to the place where time is kept. Not trapped nor hidden, but actually kept. The library of Vale Keep is not a place of answers. It is a place of questions that were worth saving.
Every book here has already survived something. Fire, loss, silence. That is why they are allowed to remain.
I have always loved rooms like this, the kind you stumble upon unexpectedly. An old mystic bookstore tucked away somewhere, where every shelf feels like a promise. You don't come looking for one thing. You come curious.
Curiosity is how the doors open, not force, not entitlement.
This is where I will spend most of my time, not because I'm searching for power, but because I'm listening for memory. As the Vale Keep chronicler, my task is not to decide what matters. It is to notice what endures.
Many believe libraries are built to preserve knowledge. They are not. They are built to preserve perspective.
Every margin note, every worn spine, every page turned by hands long gone is a conversation still happening.
There are volumes here that were never meant to be finished, and others that end abruptly. Both are equally respected.
When you stand in a room like this, you realize something quietly profound. You are never the first to wonder, and you will not be the last.
That is the comfort and the responsibility.
So tonight, if you find yourself drawn to a book you cannot name, if a question lingers without an answer, know that this, too, has its place. Not everything needs to be resolved to be respected.
The library does not rush, and neither should you.
On the 9th day of Christmastide, we honor quiet rooms where curiosity is safe, where memory is treated gently, and where wonder is allowed to linger. Stay as long as you need, and stay as long as you like.
Merry Christmastide.
Day 10 of Christmastide brings us to one of the most overlooked places in Vale Keep, the Bridge Passage. It isn't a room meant to hold you, it's a place meant to move you.
This passage was built as a crossing between one wing of the keep and another, but also between purpose and pause. You do not stop here, you pass through.
And yet, when you stand here, you feel like this space notices you. There are windows on both sides. Light enters from angles you don't expect. You are aware of the outside world again, even briefly.
That was intentional. The bridge passage reminded anyone who crossed it that the keep was not sealed away from the world. You could see the land, the sky, the weather. It kept 1 foot in reality.
I imagine footsteps echoing here. Guards, messengers, family, all moving with purpose.
Yes, this passage was used often and spoken in little. You did not linger. You did not argue. You carried what you were thinking into the next room.
There's something most reflective about it, a moment to collect yourself before you arrive somewhere important.
That is what it was meant for. Before entering the Great Hall, before stepping into private chambers, before delivering news, this passage allowed a breath, and then resolve.
And during Christmastide, I feel it would have been quieter.
Quieter, yes. Candles placed low. Light softer. Footsteps slower. The season asks people to move with care, not urgency.
On the 10th day of Christmastide, this passage reminds us that not every meaningful place is one where we stay. Some places matter because they carry us from one truth to another.
Tomorrow, we arrive somewhere meant for stillness.
Merry Christmastide.
This is the oratory. It was built for winter, when the world quiets and the soul must answer for itself.
It feels set apart from the rest of the keep.
It is. No fire was ever placed here because devotion was meant to warm the heart, not the body. During Christmastide, this room held silence, prayer, and vigilance. Candles were lit, voices were lowered, time slowed.
So this was not meant for ceremony.
No, this was for remembrance of birth, of sacrifice, of mercy. Men came here not to ask for victory, but for restraint, not to seek power, but to be worthy of it.
I can feel that stillness.
It remains because it was never disturbed. The sound of prayer. At Christmastide, this room reminded us that light enters the world quietly.
And it still serves that purpose?
Always, faith does not diminish with age.
Thank you for bringing me here.
Some doors are opened by inheritance, others are opened by reverence.
Merry Christmastide.
Merry Christmastide. This is the threshold. It is not a room. It is the space between what has been and what will be.
It feels almost like a pause.
That is what it was meant to be. A moment of stillness before the world resumes its noise. At Christmastide, this passage was walked slowly, not rushed, not spoken through.
So this is where the season releases us.
Yes, not back into chaos, but forward with light. The birth is remembered. The vigil is complete. What remains is responsibility.
And it feels very hopeful.
Hope is the final gift of Christmastide. Not comfort, but direction. This threshold has seen many crossings. Some returned changed. Some did not return at all.
And now?
Now it opens again. What was kept in silence may now be spoken. What was guarded may now be shared.
So we step forward.
Together and with intention.
May you have love, light, joy, and abundance throughout the year, from Vale Keep to you. Merry Christmastide.